Is this the Rookie CEO podcast?
Yeah, I think we're in the right place.
Oh, Hev, it's recording. This is Fuzz.
And I'm Hev, and you're listening to the Rookie CEO podcast.
Today we are joined by the amazing Beth Turner to talk about communication and why it is so important. Hello, Beth.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And so the first question is going to be, what do you do? Who are you? Why are you here?
I am a communication coach, and I'm here because I'm a huge fan of what the Rookie CEO does. So to support you and share what I know to your community, it makes me happy.
That's amazing. I feel humbled. And
You're
Beth
welcome.
is my communication coach. We've been working together for
About 6 months.
6 months, the longest 6 months of my life. I'm
Yeah.
winding you up.
Too right.
But you are obviously extremely passionate about
I am.
communication. Before this part of your life, what was you doing before?
My background is in HR, so my career started in leisure, detoured into retail, leadership, worked for John Lewis and ran their HR functions for 15 years at Blue Water and then in head office in Victoria, and then took redundancy and segued into becoming a communication coach. So that's where I'd always been my happy place. I loved having good conversations, helping people to achieve things through communication, and thought, maybe I'll do that as a job then. And I've never looked back.
What was the sort of milestone point for you then, when communication was a trigger where it was like, I'm quite passionate about this now?
I don't know that there was an exact moment, but I think success often leaves clues, and no matter what role I had or what situation I found myself in, I could seem to get a good outcome, whether it was in a disciplinary situation, performance management, recruitment, promoting somebody that was looked on paper like they wouldn't be a good fit, but you kind of spot potential in people. And there was these moments where I just managed to get a good outcome, and I looked at the skills I was using and thought, actually, it's all about caring about what's right for the person, listening well, and understanding what their world looks like to try and find what an outcome would be good for them. And just thought, actually, this is something I really enjoy doing. I found it very easy, which is why it took me a little while to realise that people would actually pay for it. I don't know if you've been there with your set of super skills. You kind of think it's so obvious. No one would pay me to help them with this.
It's funny, though, isn't it?
And I think you think, because it's so simple to me, that it must be simple to everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking to Claire Hill, a coach as well, and she was saying, she's like, actually, you can say one sentence and potentially change someone's life. I know that sounds really extreme, but you genuinely can.
True.
Yeah, and Conversations Unlimited is built on the strapline of because life happens one conversation at a time. And I think sometimes we try and engineer our businesses, our lives, so that we throw everything that we've got about communication out there, whereas actually it's just one conversation at a time. And you've both probably had conversations like I have, where they seem insignificant, but as a result of that one interaction with someone, something really good comes as a result of it. Or the risk you took in sharing what it feels to be in your shoes, nothing bad happened as a result, and you kind of build a courage to keep going and trying again. So I think life does happen one conversation at a time.
And obviously marketing, that is just communication really in different forms, really, isn't it? Whether it is imagery, whether it is being in person or whatever. And networking obviously is marketing, isn't it? I would say. I'm not sure.
And I help people have better conversations, whether that's conversations with clients in business, family members, children that they parent. It doesn't matter really who it is. But and I think in the world that we're moving into, face-to-face verbal communication is becoming the most trusted form of communication. I don't know whether you would agree with me or not, because you can use AI to create videos, to create photos that aren't true, to correct so much. The only real authentic moment you've got is when you're looking into someone's eyeballs and having a conversation. So I think to be able to talk confidently and with clarity in those moments is a real skill.
Describes why networking works.
Yeah.
It's you get to see the actual person, especially if you're turning up to these networking groups or events frequently. once you see the consistency, you realise actually that they are being themselves,
Yeah.
even if you don't get on,
Yeah.
even if you think they're being fake. After a while, it'll crack.
Yeah.
That's why I love watching I'm a Celebrity, because you think from day 5, you think he's no longer that guy, is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it's like so easy online to keep up facades, isn't it? That's like you get these big YouTubers or influencers that they're like the nicest people ever online, and they keep it up the whole time, and then they get papped doing something really awful. I actually just listened to a podcast. I'm going to talk about Ariana Grande again.
Okay.
I didn't realise
Sounds like an obsession.
back in like 2016, she got caught on CCTV in a donut shop when they weren't looking. She picked up a donut, licked it, and then put it back, and she got caught on camera. And like her persona is that she's so nice and lovely and stuff. And then she was recorded saying that she hated Americans and all this kind of stuff. So it's like online you can keep up facades, but in person you just can't. It slips.
That's crazy. So I love that sort of gossip, but I would never read Heat magazine. Is that a thing?
Not anymore.
It's impressive you even know. Obviously, you know it
remember the
exists.
advert.
So
Does Heat magazine still
It used
exist?
to be like whenever you'd go on holiday, you'd go to Gatwick, you get a Heat and OK, and like, was it a Now?
yeah, now and hello.
You could get a little. You get in the airport. You could get a bumper pack, where you get all 4 or all 3, and then
That's your
me and my
flight
mum,
done.
and my sisters, we'd all share them around.
Yes.
With my dad going, she's too young to read that.
That's right. I feel like we've definitely come off topic quite far now.
Well, I think it's a really good point though, because in business, people try and imagine that they've got to impress people by what they communicate, what they stand for, what they do. They've got to constantly sound impressive. And I think when you go to a networking event like Rookie or anywhere else regularly, you can start to see whether people are living up to the thing that they first created the impression about. And you realise the power of just being really simple in your explanation of what your business does, and just having those little moments of interaction with people, and that builds up trust, so that at some point you're either going to be the best person to serve them with a product or a service, and it will undoubtedly be based on feeling. And I think a lot of people communicate thinking, if I can just keep telling everybody how credible I am and all of the things that I've got that make perfect sense as to why they should work with me. But decisions are made with the feeling part of the brain. So if you can evoke an emotion in people, even if it's that you're not their person, that's
Definitely.
still good.
I think the reason why I started investing in communication is when it just triggered is like everything is communication. The way that you set clear expectations to your client, the way that you apologise to your client if you're running slightly behind, the words that you use and the way that you use them can get you out of situations, can get you into amazing situations.
Yeah.
So just investing into that, I think, was a massive game changer for me personally, and as a business, obviously.
And lots of people often worry, with many business owners and clients that I have, they are trying to improve their public speaking or their confidence speaking in front of people. And they quite often spend so long worrying about the words, not saying the wrong thing and making sure they say the right thing. And it's always reassuring to kind of know it's only 7% of everything that you communicate is in your words. 30% is in the tone when you say the words, and everything else is in the non-verbal communication. So sometimes it can give people real confidence to just be, knowing that they're communicating so much about themselves before they even open their mouth.
Hey Hev, have you heard of IT Managed Services? They're an IT support service based in Kent.
Yeah, I've been with them for over a year now. I love being able to just call them at any point and they take over my computer and fix the issue so much quicker than spending hours on Google.
Why have you kept that to yourself all this time? Right, I need to sign up to these guys. What's their website?
It's it-ms.co.uk, or you can call 01634 218 362.
I agree.
Yeah, like I remember watching a business coach do a talk, and they weren't kind of like dominating the room, and they were quite quiet, and I thought, oh well, you know, like you could automatically assume, well, they can't be a very good coach, but actually probably one-on-one they're probably amazing. But that's the perception I got, because they weren't being able to kind of hold that room's attention.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think just the standard that you, whatever industry you're in, you obviously have to set a standard. And if you're basically portraying your business, it's just if you are a communication coach, I think you are right though. Like if you're a communication coach and you can't hold a room, then it's quite poor marketing. It's like us. If our social media was bad, do you know what I mean? I think it's the same thing. And there's so much pressure when you do have to portray your own business.
And I think there's certain traps that you can fall into, and you may resonate with this. If you're not careful, you can very easily start to talk to your competitors because you're trying to make sure that they respect what you're doing and that you are, talking in a way that would impress someone that knows your industry inside out, when actually those people are unlikely to come to you for business. If you can communicate with the people that want what you can give, then your communication often changes. And I talk a lot with my clients about what is the problem that you're actually solving. Stop telling me about what you do and tell me about what you fix, because that is going to be crucial. People need to see the solution that you can give them to know whether you have got something that they want to invest in, either a product or a service.
It's so funny you come up with that. We literally had this discussion about the rookie CEO, didn't we, recently? On we're providing people with the knowledge of what we do, but not actually what we fix. So that's something we need to take on from a marketing aspect, and that's funny because we are in marketing. Every day's a school day. Sometimes it's helpful just to step back, isn't it?
Well, this is it. When you're so in your business and you love and you're passionate about it, you just, it's the classic thing, isn't it? When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
And you're at the centre of your own universe, aren't you? I'm at the centre of mine. My clients are at the centre of their universe. So they assume that everyone else keeps up to date. I spend a lot of time with people worrying about their website not being up to date, or a change in this, or they used to be called themselves that. The fact of the matter is, people rarely notice because they're at the centre of their universe. So you have got more freedom to relax and convey what you stand for and what you fix than people realise. And I think when you're in your world, you assume everybody's keeping up with your story and your life and the services. And I've learned a lot from you guys about the power of repetition and not thinking that you're saying the same thing because you've run out of new content or new angles. Actually, people need repetition to be reassured that something is
people are so scared of repeating themselves, especially on social media. But repetition obviously helps, but people assume that everyone's seen their social media post. And actually it's probably not even a third of people that are seeing, of their followers anyway, that are seeing that.
Yeah, like I have one client, I think I've mentioned it before. It's one of the videos. I posted it on TikTok and it got 500,000 views. I posted it again on TikTok 6 months later and it got a similar amount of views. The exact same video, exact same caption. I did nothing differently. I just knew it performed well, so I used it again. And I think people are this is why people end up burning themselves out or feeling kind of demotivated, because they think to keep their communication, their visibility up, they've got to always be doing something new. And they don't. Like, it's exhausting, and there's only so much you could possibly create new.
I think the word of the year this year within business and marketing especially, I think it's going to be authenticity.
Okay.
We just spoke in another episode how we hate that word.
I know.
So that's the word, but we don't like it.
I think it's the easiest way for businesses to stand out in a good way, again, a previous episode, is just to be yourself, because there's only one of you and all that.
I think we should change it to honesty.
Honesty then, fine. Anyway, authenticity. And
because I think authenticity sounds a bit naughty
honesty
now.
Then. Let's just go back. Let's go honesty. One thing that people struggle to realise when they're investing in theoretically developing themselves is changing themselves and then stepping away from the authenticity approach. What would you say to someone who is scared of changing the way that they talk because they're scared that they're no longer going to be themselves?
I think a few things. I would encourage people to remember that despite the kind of the noise that can sometimes exist about you've got to speak to everybody, you don't know where your next clients are coming from, you don't know who needs your service, the chances are you're not going to be the right person for everyone who wants whatever it is you offer. So I'm not the only communication coach out there. I work on the basis that in any network, my network, a group of people, an audience, anywhere, there's probably only 5% of people who need what I've got and for whom I will be the right person to deliver it. And so sometimes people have learned to talk in a way that allows them to feel like they connect to everyone, but in doing so they lose a little bit of themselves and they are shining a little bit less bright because they're trying to shine evenly for 100% of their network, their friendship groups, their connections. Whereas I think if you just can find a degree of confidence to say, this is what I do in business. I can talk. Sometimes people underestimate the power of simplicity. They don't need to big up everything they do. They need to talk about it in language that people who don't do what they do understand. If you can simplify what you do and speak from the heart, it will allow you to shine your light a lot brighter for the 5% that are looking for you. And I talk a lot about this with my clients. In ye olden times, when I worked for John Lewis, we used to regularly have children that would be lost in the department store because it's a very exciting place to hide. There are clothes to hide under, there's fixtures to hide behind, there's all sorts of opportunities, revolving doors. And when you'd hear over the tannoy system or your microphone that there was a lost child, you would instantly start scanning and you would see all of the children and you had no idea which one was lost and which wasn't, because most of them were unsupervised. But if you then got a piece of information that said, we've got a missing child last seen in kitchen where he was 5 years old, he's blonde, he's wearing a red t-shirt and carrying a blue dinosaur, instantly you can sort of filter what you can see in your world, and you will only see the blonde kids, you'll only see the red t-shirts. And so in being better at learning to speak in maybe it's a different way, or maybe it's just a more confident way about who you are and what you do, it allows the people that are looking for you as the blonde-haired 5-year-old in the red t-shirt with the blue dinosaur, they can see you. And so the risk of doing that and starting to be really clear about what you do and also what you don't do is that you risk alienating others who might not recognise you anymore, or, oh, when did you get all grown up or change the way you speak? But they're not likely to be your 5%. So you kind of have to bless and release them. And what you'll find is as you stand in your own power of articulating who you are and what you do with real clarity, then the people that are looking for you will find you. And so I think the risk is perceived to be far greater than the reality will ever be. So, and again, we imagine we've got to suddenly make this massive change. I encourage people that don't feel comfortable at networking groups to not try and rehearse their 60-second pitch. Just get good at knowing one question to ask someone, so they say hi. And before they ask you what you do, ask them a question. And then after a few weeks or a few sessions of working out whether that feels comfortable, try something new. And it can be a very piecemeal approach. People try and rush in and change everything. So those are the pieces of advice that I'd give.
Wow.
Well, we have a
Makes
question
sense.
for you.
Yeah, so our last guest, we've asked them to leave you a question. So the question was, what is your purpose? Why do you do what you do?
That's a nice small
We've only got 2
question.
minutes.
Okay, so I don't actually articulate this very often. So the reason that I do what I do and why I am a passionate communication coach working with young adults and grown-ups is because I want children to grow up in a world where they understand that their voice has value and their opinions can be heard. And for me, I don't like working with children, but I want them to have a more positive communication experience. So my purpose is to work with as many adults as I can and help them to speak with more kindness, more clarity, and to speak from the heart. Because if they learn to do that in business, it'll also be the way they speak at home. It'll also be the way that they speak and parent. And so the children that they come into contact with will have a more positive experience because they are great imitators. So all we have to do, and my purpose is to give children something great to imitate from the adults that I work with.
That's amazing. I'm going to listen to you talk.
Full stop.
And then that means, so you don't know who the next guest is, but what question would you like to know? What question are you going to leave for them?
What I am always intrigued to know is from people is 5 years from now, what would somebody say about you if you weren't around? So what would somebody say you did or made them feel when you're not there? I'm always interested in the stories we tell about people when they're not in the room. And I think the impression you
love that.
leave, because your business, someone's telling a story about your business when you're not there, what is it that they say? And I always think what would make someone super proud if they heard that they'd been described as X or Y in the future.
For you
Wow, yeah. I'm going to write that down.
Write
so
it
don't
down in a
forget.
shorthand version.
Well, thank you so much for listening, guys, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Rookie CEO.
See you later.
Bye.